Steven, I think I have the perfect shirt for the baptism. Yeah, it's perfect. It's good.
We are gathered here today in the name of Jesus. How does your guy say it?
My guy?
Your deacon guy.
I think he says it just like that.
Not Jesus, it's Jesus. I was there, Stephen.
Jesus?
I was at your church.
He was a very soft-spoken priest.
Your guy.
My guy.
The guy who with holy anointment water and oil. Anyway, why don't you tell people what happened on whatever day it was? Sunday?
Well, we had Molly's baptism, and Jared got to photograph it for me, and he wore something very special, some special attire, just for that day.
I tried to wear my gayest, most flamboyant shirt I could to church.
Oh, well, you did a good job.
Hey, Steven, there was a guy sitting 2 pews back from you, 2 pews back, in shorts and sneakers in your family while texting the entire time.
I don't think it's an event you really need to dress up for unless you're like the godfather or godmother. Like just the fact that you're at the church is fine. Like
Steven, I had on an I Shoot Raw cutoff shirt underneath.
Oh, I know. I fully expected you to rock that. You know, I wouldn't have cared if you did that.
I did it for you. I covered up my arms for you. Jesus didn't want to see those arms in church. They might be afraid.
Well, I like that you clearly just threw on the shirt because I don't think your arms were even buttoned or anything.
Why can't
like your shirt was like barely on?
No, it was tucked into my green Africa pants.
Yeah, exactly.
It was tucked in. And no, I leave the unbuttons on because I don't like the feeling of buttons on I don't like the sleeves.
You should just roll up the sleeves.
Well, I do, but then I can't roll them up high enough because my biceps are too big.
Oh, Jesus. Just get a new shirt.
No, I
get
bought
new clothes.
That's a new shirt. I bought it in Miami a few years ago when I went to a wedding and I only had one shirt. I only had my bird shirt. And so she's like, the girl I went with, she's like, well, for the party thing, you should get another shirt. And so I went down the street and I was like, that's a nice shirt. I want that. So I bought that because it was very rainbow color. With polka dots.
It suits you. How many shirts do you have minus I Shoot Raw shirts?
I mean, I have a closet. It has stuff in it.
4, 5?
No, I mean, there's a closet.
3?
There's, I don't know. There's drawers and drawers of shit that I've kept over years.
And that are yours, not your dad's hand-me-downs.
They're mine. I mean, I have a couple of really, there was a time before Frono's photo where I had a lot of vintage polyester button-up shirts that I thought were cool.
Yes.
So I still have those, probably like 10 or less. And then, I mean, if you go back and you watch the video of me doing the lens hood under the tree video, one of the early Frono's photo, I don't even think it was a Frono's photo, it was a JaredPolin.com video on my YouTube channel. I'm wearing one of those it's like a red Texas style shirt.
I think of like Superbad.
Oh, yeah, basically.
What Jonah Hill's wearing the entire movie, which is like Evan's dad's clothes, right?
We go into the closet. I don't remember. Yeah.
I am very thankful that you could show up to events like this because I shoot all of my family's events, every baptism, every first communion, birthday, anniversary, whatever it is. And then I have no one to actually take photos of us at our events. I usually can't because obviously I'm holding like, you know, an infant or a toddler or one of my kids. I end up missing pretty much all of those moments. And I usually can't even bring my camera half the time. So I'm really thankful that you could show up and we could get some professional photos of this big special day for us.
Very professional photos.
And they're the best photos ever.
Best photos ever.
By the way, you shot with the R1, right?
I shot with the R1 and the 70-200, and I'm glad I brought the 28-70 this time.
Well, I think I mentioned like definitely bring wider than your 100-300 that you brought last time, shooting from the back.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't know what Jesus would let me do. I didn't want to be struck down because the other guy last time, your other priest guy, was more scary and didn't seem as inviting as new priest guy.
So I'm surprised you don't ask beforehand, like, hey, do you mind if I walk around? Because that's the first thing I do when I shoot one of these events is like, hey, can I walk around the venue? Can I walk around the church? Can I get near the altar? Because some priests are like, do not step anywhere near the altar. And some are like, sure, you can go behind me.
Especially because I had to put on an armband when I got there to signify I'm a Jew.
Did you burn up?
No, because the band protects you while you're in there. It gives you exemption for like an hour.
I kept saying, I'm like, are you on fire yet?
Jesus Christ. I didn't ask for permission because you always ask for forgiveness. But also Deacon Dude or the priest guy was very forthcoming with, if you'd like to step up to the front of the altar and get your photos, please do so.
Yeah, I just usually you don't care, and I'm really surprised you kind of stayed stuck in that one spot for the most part because there were empty pews everywhere. I'm like, you could shoot from across and get us from that side if you want, but you kind of.
I didn't want to walk in front. I didn't want. It's not the Jared Jew show right now.
Yeah, but you know how I am. I get it. Like I understand you need to move to get the shot. So you could have done
my
whatever.
shot sucked or what?
No. I'm just surprised. Obviously, I've been in your presence many times when you photographed, and I usually see you run around like a maniac, and you kind of stayed, nestled in that little corner most of the time.
Well, this was different. This is like a different type of thing. I'm focused on a couple of things. You just need a handful of photos.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's so weird. It was very difficult to focus on Molly a lot of times because her face is so small, so it doesn't recognize her over the godmother or something.
Yeah.
And so then I had to, after the baptismal part, I had to switch. I hit the button for single focus a few times so that I would focus on the face. But the photos, I think, were fine.
Well, I'm really glad you obviously got a bunch of Molly because we actually made her christening gown out of Nicole's wedding dress too. And I realized after the fact, I got like no photos of her.
I knew I recognized that from somewhere. God.
Okay.
Oh, geez. That was so important.
Dude. R1, like the high ISO capability of that camera is insane. I mentioned to you after, I'm like, you shot most of these at 8,000 ISO and it looks like 1600 from back in the day. It's so clean. It's very filmic like, not color noise, that kind of stuff.
No, and I don't even know where I kept my shutter speed. I think I was pretty reasonable.
You were probably around that 250th of a second. Now, I will say when we were doing the actual baptism part, when they were pouring holy water on her head, I think you were pretty high there. But I don't know if you knew what to expect, so I get it.
No, I didn't know what to expect. Where's my baptismal photos? I never put them into Lightroom.
So I think you took like 500 photos all in, which was a lot. I'm surprised.
A lot of the photos are happening when Jesus was being poured on Molly because I went into a higher frame rate and I didn't do pre-capture or anything because I wanted to make sure you had the perfect drip from the cup of Jesus onto Molly's head. And that's why I motor drove through just those bursts.
Okay. The funny thing is I probably will do nothing with these photos besides share them with some family.
Well, I let you edit. I uploaded the raw files for you. I didn't even input them into Lightroom for once because I'm like, I don't fucking want to do this shit.
The hard part about that church, by the way, that's where I got married as well. The lighting is brutal in there because you've got a bunch of window light and then a bunch of mixed crazy warm light inside. So the skin tones are always all over the place. That is a black and white type church for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't worry about it. I just look at the right exposure. And then when we did the family pictures in front of the altar, I'm like, damn, this light sucks.
It's brutal. Especially the harsh shadows and everything you get to.
Well, it's something similar that I talked about on the Daily Fro yesterday because Aaron, the kid I've been mentoring, a friend asked him to shoot a wedding. And I was like, oh, Jesus God. So I talk about that with him on the phone, and I'm like, are you going to be doing formal shots? He goes, no, they just want the wedding pictures. I'm like, dude,
for now.
You're going to show up, and they're going to be like, oh, can you get pictures beforehand of us getting ready?
100%.
Oh, can you do pictures after? I'm like, he doesn't know. Yep. He doesn't know. But go listen to the Daily Fro. That's the July 22nd episode where Aaron gets yelled at by me on the phone again.
But I knew that was going to be rough lighting, so I was like, let's get some pictures outside too, under that nice shaded area in the front. So that worked out. But yeah, thank you again for taking those photos. And you came to my house after, actually, and you were touching my lawn, my grass.
I did. I touched your grass.
I was looking at the security footage, and I literally have you like bending down, like petting the grass.
I wanted to see how fluffy it was. It was like a cloud.
It is nice.
Yeah, not the back grass as much, but
I actually have some tree guys coming today to cut down one of the branches that was taken out from a storm recently in my front tree. And I'm like, oh, they're going to be running over the lawn with their cherry pickers and all their heavy machinery. I hope they don't destroy half of it, but we'll see.
Well, I had the boot camp Saturday, right?
Yes, the day before.
I don't want to go too deep into that, but we had a very good boot camp. We got very lucky that it did not rain one drop of rain until 6 o'clock when we were done.
I am shocked.
It was supposed to rain all day with heavy rain, potential for flooding. and we had no rain.
I mean, it was like the worst forecast ever. They're calling for like tornadoes, all kinds of stuff, flash flooding, and zero rain. Even at night, we really got nothing.
Yeah. No, I decided to stay the course. I was going to bring in the models earlier, and I was thinking of, well, do we do the action and skating first? And then I was like, I don't want to teach that first. I want to start the day the other way and get people comfortable. So
It's hard to switch that around, yeah.
Yeah, boot camp was good. I believe we picked a date of Saturday, September 19th, probably to be the last boot camp, just to put it on your radar for the year. Well, for the year here in Philly, there might. I don't think we're going to get to go somewhere else this year, but one more in September. We're thinking, and it will go up soon. I know there's less than 2 months, but I know people were asking, and a bunch of people were dropping me messages, and so we're looking at September 19th. Well, that is going to be the date. I just have to put up all the stuff.
That'll be a really nice time of year around here.
It could be, yeah. I mean, it should be. It should be September. September should be really nice. All right, so that's the boot camp thing. Quick update on the charity shirt. They should be coming into the studio tomorrow. The 727 shirts that I ordered are coming to the studio tomorrow. I decided to do the shipping out of the studio and not my warehouse because there's no air conditioning in the warehouse. And so I'm just going to set up the bowling alley tables here because they're height stand-up tables. And it's much easier than bending over to fold to pack these shirts. So 727 came in. I got a bunch of messages. People were like, I ordered these 2 weeks. Where are they? And as an update, or it says it right there. It's a pre-order shirt. And if you read the description, which I guess some people didn't, it said that the pre-sale was ending on the 24th, which we're now going to end on the 26th Sunday, just to round it out. But I'm going to start packing this weekend the 670 shirts that have been sold. Thank you, guys. We're going to get those out as soon as possible, and we appreciate the support. George has water.
Yeah, you'll have an update video, right?
Yeah, the update video should be out by the time this comes out, possibly. But update to George. He has water, and I've sent him more money to get the electricity rolling so they can get power, solar panel, and 10 gigawatt, or I believe, battery packs, so that they will have battery and solar and water. Wow. and they're getting set pretty well. And whatever's left extra, we'll figure out how to make all that work for him as well. I have to go over the numbers.
Does he not have power at all?
No, they didn't have water or electric.
Wow.
So that means no bathroom in the house. That means no water. That means they can't charge their phones. That's why when we're on Safari and they
have none of that, but they have phones. That's like mind blowing.
Yeah, but see, the phone there is a big thing.
Yeah.
The phone, it's not like they're yes, it's like a third world country, but cell coverage is everywhere.
No power or water. It sounds like a third world.
Well, there's places that have power and water, but their houses don't. There's different levels of wealth, of wealth and poverty in these areas. And there's the farmers, and then there's the wealthy people, and then there's all different types of communities. And some that live out in the bush really don't have a lot. They have really don't have a ton of money, but they try. I mean, it's like a double. It's like optically, it's weird because when we're on Safari, they wear the traditional Masai Mara garb, but then you'll see in the video George is dressed like like we would dress, and he has a watch on, and it's just like I would prefer that they would just dress like a safari guide and not wear the Masai Mara thing and play up play that up, because it is playing it up. Just like why I won't go to the Maasai villages that are not how they live. It's more for tourists to come, and I get it. It's like going to Disney World sometimes.
So where do they charge their phones?
Well, see, that's a question. George had to walk into the town to charge their phones. Or what I was about to say is when we're in the Land Cruisers on the Safaris, the Land Cruisers have plugs. So they have their adapters and they plug in the car while they're at work.
It's wild.
And also they can do that while they're at the tents and stuff at the camps as well.
Okay.
But they're also away from their home. It's not like they live 20 minutes from they're working 20 minutes from their house. They're hours upon hours away from their houses. They stay for 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month or two to do the work when there's the work, and then they go home. And when they go home, and when we fly in prop jets, these smaller planes for 35, 40 minutes, they have to take a 6-hour bus.
Wow.
To get from the camps back to wherever they live.
Jeez.
It's insane. It's just it's a different world. So anyway, That's that. I'm going to be heading to the zoo today to help a friend and his daughter who has an interest in photography. He asked, I actually volunteered to help, and I figured let's go to the zoo instead of bringing them to the studio and going outside. I thought the zoo would be better because there's statues we can photograph, static things and work on composition. And then there's some animals that just might be sitting there. And so, R6s are getting loaded up with the 24-105 kit lens. It's a 4.5 to 7.1. I don't really care. It's just about the versatility right now, and that's how we're going to start to learn.
You should throw the 600 f11 in the bag, just the cheapy,
Yeah, but this is something that I can let them borrow and take home and practice with.
True.
I'm not going to give them I'm going to give them this. It's good enough to start. You can't have everything right off the rip.
No, of course. I just wanted to say that, these lenses are available if they get into it. And
they are.
Luckily, the 600 f11 doesn't really, break the bank.
Yeah. So in this show, now that we got all that out of the way, we're going to talk about our thoughts on a possible APS-C stacked sensor camera that Canon Rumors is talking about for Canon. The FX5 was finally announced. We have a lot of discussion to go over about that. There's also the story about a photographer who lost, or the title said, photographer loses $259,000 job to AI. Now, we're not going to go heavily too deep into that, but it's more of a preview to the discussion I had with Adam Lerner, who some of you guys may remember from 15 or 16 years ago, who I worked with after meeting him as a fan of my channel early on, and had him work together with him for a while on stuff. I figured I would bring him on, and we did a daily fro. I already put up the audio portion, but then I also recorded the video, and Steven edited that, and that will be coming up on YouTube. That will have supplementary visuals to help you understand what we're talking about.
Follow along, yeah.
But yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit here on the show, just to get Steven's take on that whole thing. But let's start with your thoughts on the possible stack sensor of the A7 Mark II, or whatever it is that Canon Rumors is speculating.
A7 Mark II? You mean the R7 Mark II,
Yeah, of
right?
course. There's way too many numbers. It's Sony, Canon, Nikon.
Well, so people love the R7, or at least I guess the market that camera is going for love the R7. They love the crop capability, the extra reach for birding and wildlife. That is a huge birding type camera. They love the 30 frames per second to capture a bird in flight or something like that. But they didn't love the rolling shutter. So I think having a fully stacked sensor and pre-capture in a future R7 Mark II should certainly help. I think it makes sense in an APS-C camera. The R7 line was always like the flagship APS-C camera for Canon, basically like the R5 line, but with an APS-C sensor for the most part.
Well, it's like the D500 that Nikon always came out with that I absolutely
Mini
despised.
D5, whatever.
Despise that camera.
So I could see them doing the same here. Again, it's the R5 Mark II has a stacked sensor. This is a smaller flagship version of that for the APS-C line. That should also have a pretty fast stacked sensor. Also, they're saying it's going to be 39 megapixels. So that will allow for like 8K video.
I don't care.
Hold on. Let me get to it. I could see them making like an R7V type camera with this same sensor, because that's what Canon loves to do. They love to double dip and use the same sensor in multiple different types of cameras. So I could see them tuning it for the fast readout for stills, but because it's 39 megapixels, it would also be great for high resolution video as well, and maybe put into something like an R7V type camera, like a Super 35 stacked camera, like Sony has with their FX30 and their ZV-E10 II. Now, they're not stacked, but they're Super 35 high-end cameras.
Is the R6 Mark III stacked? I don't remember.
The R6 Mark III is not stacked. It's a front-side illuminated sensor, but the way they tuned it, it's a very fast readout.
Right, so
it's like 14 milliseconds, yeah.
So then what is the purpose of... See, this is my contention with it. Well, price. I'm saying, what is the purpose of making a R7 Mark II have a stack sensor when they perfectly well could make a regular sensor like they did with the R6 Mark III and squeeze out 40 frames per second with pre-capture, with rolling shutter that is not terribly bad, because the majority of people, but they're not the high-end pros. I think that the ship has sailed for crop sensor cameras being the pro model. When I was shooting a D2H and a D2X, those were crop sensors because they didn't have full frame yet. And I like the idea of getting more reach, but with the crop sensor, the whole idea is people are like, I love shooting birds. Therefore, I want the perceived extra reach and then I'm still going to crop the shit. So now the quality is going to be less than what full frame cropped would look like.
I get it. I'm a full frame or bust guy for sure, personally, but it comes down to, like you said, the reach, and I think the biggest thing is the price. At least me, starting out, I owned a 7D, for example, and I bought that camera because I couldn't buy a 5D. I couldn't afford it.
Totally get that.
And that was already maxing out my budget to get that camera. So that's what I think it comes down to for a lot of people is the price. You're getting the same capability of that full frame camera minus that, full frame sensor,
but
obviously.
There's a but there, Steven.
It's the flagship version. You're getting the dual card slots, IBIS, all of that stuff.
You said pricing.
Yes.
That doesn't surmise that it's going to be less. I mean, an R7 right now is $1,600.
Correct. Well,
an R8 is $1,000.
You got to keep in mind the R8 is the low end full frame camera.
Of course, I keep it in mind, but I'd rather have that shoots 40 frames per second. It's and be full frame. I'm getting better quality off of that sensor than a 39 megapixel cropped sensor that I rather have you crop later, potentially if you need to, and go with a full frame sensor.
Yeah, but that just negates the whole purpose of having a stacked sensor. The R8 is a slower sensor.
Yes, but I don't think they need to make a stacked sensor. I don't think Canon's going to make a stacked sensor. I think they'll take an R6 III style because it's less expensive and they can keep the price down. My thing is, if an R7 Mark II has a stacked sensor and comes in at a price that's more expensive, that's say, or close to the price of an R6 Mark, say, II, then I think there's a problem there.
Of course, I agree. If this is still sub $2,000, I think it's worth making. If this is $2,000 or more, R6 Mark II all day for sure.
Well, how much is an R6 Mark II right now?
Probably about $2,000 if I had to guess.
R6 Mark II, not frames per second. R6 Mark II, Best Buy, $2,000. So let's see what it says on the B and the H. Yeah, it's a $2,000 camera currently, which means in the used market, it's a $1,500 camera.
Yeah, and the R6 Mark II definitely still holds up. Now, again, you're not getting the croppability with the full frame sensor, but it's still not stacked. Keep in mind.
But they don't know. See, fuck, Steven.
Just saying, this is coming from a guy who only shoots stacked sensors.
Yeah, because I'm a fucking professional. You're not a professional using a crop sensor camera in this day and age anymore.
You can't say that.
I know I can't. Because yes, I can be a professional using that, and yes, you can get great results. But I still go by the school of thought that if you're looking at a crop sensor camera, you're generally not familiar or too concerned with certain things.
I don't think that's true, because I was not like that. Again, I think of myself.
Okay, that was 15 years ago.
Came down to my budget.
Yes, I'm saying that budget-wise, a full-frame camera is still potentially going to be less expensive than a flagship stacked sensor camera if Sony makes one as an R7. I'm taking that approach, that I'd rather have someone buy an R6 Mark II than a crop sensor for more money in an R7 Mark II if that is what it's going to be. I don't think they're going to do it, Steven. I don't think they're going to make a stacked sensor.
Do you think they'll even have an R7 Mark II?
It's been so long that I don't know.
I don't think it's been that long. What's it been, 4 years since the R7 came out?
Wasn't it pre-pandemic when we went to Florida?
Was it?
Or was it done in Florida because it was it was in the middle of the pandemic?
No, June 2022. It's been 4 years.
Okay, so it was a pandemic 2 years.
It's right at the point where it needs to be updated.
I don't think that they're going to make a stack sensor in a APS-C camera. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Okay.
I just don't think they're going to do it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think they're going to do it.
I think they will do it because I think if they didn't, there's not much of an upgrade that can happen if they just put out the same camera with similar sensor. I mean, that R7 was kind of already stacked, no pun intended, without the actual stacked sensor. It
Didn't
had
that have
almost
that stupid
everything.
spin wheel on it?
It did, and I will say, I wonder if they'll give it that same spin wheel.
No.
See, I never used it long term, so I wonder if people like it or hate it who actually have the camera. I'm really curious about that because it just takes muscle memory at that point. But I know when we were using it, we were kind of like, this is weird.
The spin wheel was in such a weird place. And speaking of that shoot, do you remember there were volleyball players?
Yes.
Hey guys, go shoot these volleyball girls with thongs up their ass from behind. I was like, how am I supposed to shoot this and use this? I can't. Oh, we never talked about that. A few weeks ago, did you see the European sports whatever put out about how to photograph women?
No.
They put out this the European sports whatever put out this guide, and they used pictures, drawings of this is a good shot of a female, this is okay to do, this is not. So like the female coming over the back the high jump bar going backwards, and if you're in front, behind her and her legs are open, they're like, don't take a picture here.
No.
Or a girl
Crazy.
is bending over tying her shoes, and they're like, well, don't take a picture of her ass. Or it's the long jump and they're coming towards you. Well, this is a bad place to shoot. And it's like, and they're showing, well, this is fine and this isn't. I'm like, well,
So common sense.
well, yes, in some ways, but in other ways, it's like, well, how are you supposed to shoot certain peak action when the peak action is that? And you're just trying to cut it to not show a girl's ass. Well, we're still going to show guys' asses. Hold on, Steven, before you say, I've got one more thing. Maybe if you didn't wear fucking bikini bottoms to play sports, it wouldn't be such a big deal in photos. Maybe if you wore a skirt, which is hot, by the way, when those field hockey players are wearing skirts, then it pops up and you're like, oh shit. But then you realize they have tight shorts on underneath. You're like, damn, boy shorts. Yeah, it's sexualized. Why? Because I like women. So yeah, every time I see a woman, I'm sitting there going, would I sleep with her? That is my brain. If you say that
You
as a man,
animal.
if you are a man or even a woman, and if you're a gay guys, could you imagine being gay and seeing Steven? Don't say it. Could you imagine? No, but it's
No
true.
comment.
Could you imagine being gay and like loving men?
Tell me about it, Jared.
I mean, that's fine if that's your thing. Yeah. But everyone that walks down the street, you know how much easier it must be for gay men to have sex than straight men to find women?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I knew this conversation would go this way.
But what I'm saying is, every girl I see walk down the street, except for the plus size park hoppers, well, I guess I've thought about it at least for a passing second. I'm like, I will not sleep with Sarah, the 2X plus size park hopper. But then if it was like you had to choose between one plus size park hopper to sleep with, would you choose the 2X or the 5X version?
Nothing a little alcohol won't solve.
I don't drink, Steven, and neither do you now.
Oh, God.
So I just don't know.
I think when it comes down to, by the way, coming back to the original conversation of not photographing women a certain way with sports, it just comes down to culling at the end of the day. Of course, you're going to have weird in-between frames that aren't flattering, but you just make sure you don't put those out. It's basic common sense.
Like when I had to photograph high school football, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, can you get photos of the cheerleaders? Well, they're high school girls. So you have to be very careful. Well, now, when I was in high school, it was a different story.
Sure.
Right? I would zoom in with my 100 to 300, make it pretend I'm taking pictures. I'm like,
man, why don't I have an R7 crop sensor?
This was 1999. 1999. I'm like, oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that outfit. Oh, that's cute. I love cheerleaders back then. And then you go back 10 years later and you're like, Jesus Christ, like you can't. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to take photos of cheerleaders at all. Just because you just don't. But when you're shooting women's volleyball, it's literally their asses are everywhere. They're wearing nothing.
Yeah.
I don't see why they can't wear shorts. Like, I don't see why. I mean, I'm happy they wear these really short, tight boy shorts. I'm a big fan of that.
Boy shorts, yeah.
But there's no reason why women should be wearing almost nothing to play sports. But on the flip side, men, that are doing speed skating, their dongs are sticking out sometimes. They're shapely dongs, unless they're really small. Did you know, Steven, that in long jump, ski jump, this big thing where they ski and then they like fly, that there was a controversy because they would inject their schlong with something which would make it shrink so that they could gain extra wind aerodynamics, because if their penis was sticking out a little bit.
How do you know these things?
I know everything about the schlong, Steven.
Oh, it's already really cold out. Do they really need it?
Yeah, it's everything to get an advantage, Steven.
Oh, man.
So the moral of the story is
shrinkage. I always think of the Seinfeld
Well, they
episode.
put out the article with pictures, and I was like, "That's a hot picture. Save that for later." Right? Even the animation.
Bank.
Yeah, it was just an animation. I was like, "This is great." But so anyway, the moral of the story.
Did you say even the animation?
Well, they were cartoon. They were like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I like that position. They were like showing the girl bent over, tying her shoe, and it's like, oh, excuse me.
Jared's
I'm
taking
tying
notes.
My shoe. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. I make mental pictures all the time.
I'm sure you do.
Pictures in my mind. Literally every person that walks down, every woman that walks down the street, I'm thinking about it. Okay? Like, fuck, I said it out loud. It's true. I think everybody does that unless you're the priest or, well, I'm not going to go there today. Steven, can we get back on topic now that you took us off the rails?
Yes, please.
You could text us your thoughts on this, 313-710-9729. 313-710-9729. Oh, are we done with thoughts and we have to move on to the FX5, Steven?
Let's do it.
Moving on to the FX5 where Steven is taking control.
So we didn't get briefed on this camera until Friday, just a few days ago. Never obviously got the camera, which is unfortunate. But overall, this might be like the one cinema-centric camera that really does it all. It's got the stacked fast sensor with... I'm not going to go over specs real quick, by the way. I just want to quickly highlight top-level stuff, and then we'll move on from there. So,
hey, Steven, can I make a note?
Yeah.
Just a quick note. The FX3 was released in 2021, by the way. So it's like
5
one
years.
of those... The FX5 is one of these cameras that potentially the FX3 users might have been waiting for a long time.
100%. And there was a lot of rumors, speaking of that, that were saying this is going to be an FX3 Mark II. And then we finally found out that it was going to be the FX5, which has a stacked fast sensor with triple base ISOs, has IBIS, has internal RAW video, big 4-axis touchscreen that is 3.5 inches, open gate, optional EVF and top handle with 32-bit float audio. It's got the built-in cooling fan just like the FX3, but upgraded 5K 60p, oversampled 4K, high full frame rates like 4K 240 and 5K 120. I mean, it really does it all for a compact camera at this price point. You need to keep that in mind. It has really everything but two things: ND filters and professional IO, like SDI inputs.
Right. And back onto the ND filter thing, the reason is, once again, that none of the camera manufacturers put ND into these smaller bodies, is there's no way to get the mechanism into there and keep it small.
Yes, and that is basically reserved for the FX6 series and above. Much bigger cameras, much more expensive. I think the FX6 is still selling for like $7,000, if I recall.
Yeah, except for the fact that that camera was announced in 2020 at this point.
That camera is very long in the tooth. I guarantee the FX6 Mark II is going to be an FX5 with ENDs, MXF wrappers, SDI in and out, RAW formats that are much higher data rates, like
and very similar to the be like a C80 style.
Yeah, I mean the FX6 is already like a C80 style.
It is, but it's still elongated and bigger. I think
Yes.
they're going to make it smaller
and much more expensive too compared to the C80. I mean, I've said it time and time again. The C80 is definitely a sleeper camera. That camera offers so much for much less than the FX6.
It's been my camera for shooting TV shows with now.
Yep.
And the FX6 still uses XQD cards.
Wow. So that was before CF Express got introduced?
No, it may have already been, but they went with XQD. That's
It
one
must
of the
have been
problems
right
with that
after
camera.
then if they were already introduced. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, back to the FX3 conversation. Sony did tell us that this is not a replacement for the FX3. They specifically said it on the briefing. I want to make that clear that this is an entirely new line in the cinema series, and that the FX3 and 6 will continue on. That's what they told us, that they will continue on. Those specific words. I'm not sure if that meant Mark IIs are right around the corner and currently in the works, or if that means that they just won't be discontinued and they will continue on being sold. It's hard to say. I'm reading in between the lines, and I think Mark IIs are coming of both cameras. I don't think the FX5 is replacing either of these cameras.
I think we're in the midst of Sony doing a complete overhaul, revamping of their entire lineup.
100%.
We see that with the SA battery. That's going to come to every future camera at this point.
The XR2 processor, the integrated AI chip, all of the latest bells and whistles. Yep.
Yeah, they're revamping, and they basically put their foot down. They're like, well, we're not going to keep following the path that we followed by doing 10 frames a second max and all of this stuff and limiting. We need to take this next step for the next 6 years.
2026 is Sony's refresh year for sure. You have the A7 V, the A7 R6, now the FX5 for the cinema series. The A9 III still holds up. What's that? 2 years old at this point? Not even.
Can't believe that's got to be more than 2 years old.
Is it? More
Let
than
me
2
look
years
it
old?
up.
No, I don't think so.
When did the Sony... what's it called?
A9 III.
A9 III get announced. It was in 2023 in New York of November.
Okay, so 2.5 years, roughly.
Yeah, we were there.
Okay. Yeah, we were there with Junior, actually. We drove up with him, remember?
Oh, yes, I do.
That was fun. So yeah, an entire refresh year for them. I think Canon just did theirs last year with the R5 Mark II, the R1, the C50, all that kind of stuff. And then Nikon, I think, needs to make 2027 their year because they are in need of a major refresh minus the Z6 III and the ZR, obviously. But their flagship cameras, the Z8, Z9, they're definitely getting older. But, you know, you just got to wait. It's all a waiting game. We say it every time. Like, yeah, they might be behind now, but next year they might be in front of everybody. So we will see.
I'll be surprised if Nikon's in front of anything. Like
there it is.
Well, again, the Z8 is one of the greatest professional bodies cameras you could ever consider, ever. It's the Z9 in a smaller body.
Yeah.
It's just that it still has its limitations, but I don't know where Nikon's going to go. I don't know if Nikon is going to do the same thing again, because it's most people are buying a Z8 over a Z9. The only people that buy the Z9 are the people that want a bigger body with integrated bigger battery, and it's lighter, I think, than the Z8 with a grip.
They just started giving the Z9 firmware features that the Z8 doesn't have. I think they should have done that from the beginning because people paid a premium price for a Z9 and they should be getting premium features that the Z8 does not have. In the beginning, they were still doing the same updates for both. And I mean, that's great for a Z8 user, but kind of screws over the Z9 user. I think moving forward, they need to stick to that to really differentiate the Z9 and make people buy that over a Z8. Then again, a Z8 also came out 2 years later. So it's
still great.
2 years
Still
later.
a great
Still
camera.
great. Yeah. Anyway, I want to deep dive into the FX5 stuff, some caveats and stuff that I discovered after the fact, after watching a bunch of previews. Obviously, again, we didn't have hands-on with the camera. We haven't been sent the camera just yet, so it's hard to talk about the camera when we don't have it, or I haven't personally used it. But I do want to get to them in a minute.
I will say our briefing gave us more information than some of the people who actually had the camera had.
I agree. We also asked the right questions too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have gotten the camera and taken it out into the real world, but when I get it, when they send it, I will go film something. I mean, that's what we do. We just show you how it works.
I am actually very surprised that Sony told us about the firmware 2.0 stuff so early. I mean, we're looking at over a year out. Yeah, August of 2027.
Not a fan of you talk about future firmwares because that camera doesn't help you now. You don't buy the product, as MKBHD always says, you don't buy the product based off of future expectations of firmware. You buy it off of what it can do today.
I do want to give an update on pricing too, by the way, now that we have the pricing for the EVF and the top handle. We didn't have that beforehand. Yes. The optional EVF, if you want to buy that, is
$799?
$700.
Oh, I was close.
So yeah, I think it was like $698. And the top handle is $800. But if you buy the bundle, it's $54.99. So you end up saving $200 if you buy the bundle with the top handle. So anyway, all in, if you're buying the body with the EVF as well, it's $6,200 for all those accessories. So it's a pretty pricey camera when you compare it, especially to the competition like the Nikon ZR or the S1 II or the C50, you know, that comes with the top handle. The FX3 also comes with the top handle. That is $38.99, I think, right now.
Which brings the price down of the FX3 straight up if you didn't have the top handle.
But they don't sell the FX3 without the top handle.
Oh, all right.
It's only sold with the top handle, just like the No, is the C50 sold with the top handle? I don't recall.
I think it comes with it.
I think it comes with it. I think it's the same thing. Yeah. Now, this one, you can get the body only. Again, after deep diving and looking into the camera more once it was released, because Sony only tells us the good things about the camera, not so much the bad things, which makes sense. But I do want to bring up some things that I don't like about the camera. Still has CF Express 2.0. We still need a camera with CF Express 4.0 support. Very surprised we haven't gotten one yet with all of these high-resolution internal RAW cameras. I mean, this is rated to take advantage of only VPG 400 CF Express A cards, not the latest VPG 800 cards. We've got the cards and the card readers, pro-grade, but no cameras to actually support them. And my question is, who will be the first to actually introduce a camera with 4.0 support.
I don't know who's going to be the first to use those faster cards. To be honest with you, I don't think most people really understand that a faster card is needed in some situations, and they've been hard to understand, like V30, V60, V90.
For SD, for example, you can actually use an SD V90 card to shoot 5K with this camera, which is mind-blowing. You can still shoot, I think, the RAW format on an SD card, which most cameras you can't.
Yeah, well, it's good that these card companies are doing the future stuff now,
being ahead of it,
so that when the cameras do come out, they support the new cards.
Now, OpenGate, actually speaking of writing to only one card, I think the C50 is like that, right? Where you can only write to CF Express B cards with OpenGate and not the SD. Anyway, OpenGate is only available in RAW formats. That's something I don't like about this camera. I think that's a big miss for social media and social content creators. They want it turned around fast. They want something they can almost edit on their phone if they want. Now, OpenGate isn't just for reframing for like TikTok or Instagram. A big thing is that it's also used for full frame anamorphic, which if you are using full frame anamorphic modes, that turns off the IBIS in this camera and the autofocus, just like the FX3 if you're using anamorphic.
It turns off autofocus?
Correct. Again, Sony tells us the good things and not the bad things. Now, this made sense years ago when there weren't many anamorphic autofocus lenses on the market, mainly manual focus lenses, and IBIS caused like wonkiness with the de-squeezing. But now, like Panasonic has a special IBIS mode that works with their anamorphic. So you can use IBIS and anamorphic lenses at the same time.
That's it.
Why can't you with Sony? And no autofocus in 2026 is mind-blowing. And then speaking of autofocus, the subject recognition modes are limited to human, animal, and bird. Why not more? Is there even an auto mode like the alpha cameras? The other thing about the FX5, I do find it weird that they gave this camera 0 stills capability. You can't even take a single picture with it, but the form factor is there. Like it's like a stills camera. It still has a standard shutter button.
Whatever.
Which is just a third record button. Do you really need all these record buttons at this point? Like just give me the option to take photos with the E shutter. I don't need a mechanical shutter or flash. Give me just 1 frame per second. Like I don't care. I just want to take a thumbnail with it as a creator.
All right. Well, I guess having a possibility for an EVF that it kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, I think the EVF is more for, shooting in broad daylight too. You can see it better, obviously.
They put it in as it could be angled, and you could set it off, as we've seen that there's an option where you could get a cable and set it up like a EMP, whatever those cameras are
like
called.
Like an ENG style camera where you have it on your shoulder and you have, say, the viewfinder.
What does ENG stand for?
Electronic news gathering.
That had to be some 1980s shit right there.
For sure. Like a shoulder camera is what I'm talking about. Like a shoulder rig. You can now rig it up and put that cable extending so you can use the viewfinder off the camera and still use, say, a monitor or the top handle or something like that on the actual camera. So that is great. It frees up the MI shoe, basically.
MI shoe?
The multi-interface shoe, the digital hot shoe. Back to stills, I think they realized this misstep because the future firmware upgrade will allow for still frame grabs to be taken from video
But
clips.
Not actual...
You can't take still photos, but you can take frame grabs for probably thumbnails. I don't know. Again, I just think they should have allowed it to take just one single photo or something. Dual gain video, I still think it's a gimmick. Every time they show us examples, I'm like, are you using a candle as the main light source for your footage? Then sure, definitely turn it on. But for 99% of practical shooting environments, you really won't need this mode. If it wasn't like limited to like a lower readout speed and base ISO, then I would have it on probably all the time. But I think the cons outweigh the pros here. I'm not sure if this is a con for me just yet because I haven't used the camera personally, but there's a lot of talk about like the Cine Alta menu, the new cinema menu, and how most people prefer the standard hybrid alpha menu. I've found this to be the case for some of the Canon cameras like the C50, where the cinema menu can be a lot more confusing than the stills menu. I still think a lot of these manufacturers now need to like integrate both into one single menu because there are so many hybrid shooters these days. And the cinema camera is the cinema menu is so old school at this point.
It's so ENG.
That's really it for like the list of caveats and bad things for this camera.
I know plenty of people are going to turn around and order this camera. Even though it's more expensive than what a FX3 would be, they can utilize all of the power of what this camera offers. And it's just like they've been looking for an FX3 not a backup, but a replacement, and also have a camera that isn't their FX6 or FX9 that they already have. And so this falls into that marketplace extremely well.
I think FX6 users are probably upgrading to this as well. Yeah, you don't have the ENDs, but still, you have everything else but that.
Yeah.
Other thing I want to bring up too is that raw video was always like a big marketing talking point to me. Way too bloated, way too data hungry. But Sony finally did like something different here. Their XOCN LT that's in this camera, their raw format is nearly the same size as like the all-eye compressed codecs. It's just a very lightweight compressed raw format. It's the same as Red Raw, 16-bit linear. And their C2 mode, which is an even lower mode than the XOCN LT, is equal to like the H.265 data rate. Like it's just a very lightweight codec. And I think that's great because you can actually shoot RAW with this camera and have it basically the same file size as your normal formats. And it's not crazy bloated, taking up a ton of memory when memory is so expensive these days too. Storage in general. So I can see a lot of people actually shooting RAW video with this camera opposed to like a ZR or a C50 or something like that.
Well, I think they did a solid job with the FX5, other than giving it to us, not giving it to us type of thing.
And did you hear all this talk about how it's really like the A7R6 sensor, but tuned for this camera?
No, I didn't.
So Gerald Undone basically explains that he came out of his retirement.
No, we can't talk about it.
He came out of it for a second, and I kind of questioned to you the day before the embargo lifted. I was like, I wonder if Gerald's going to do a video on this because this is kind of like his type of camera. It's brand new sensor, brand new everything. It's cinema related. But yeah, they're saying it's the A7R6 sensor, but binned basically. So you cut the resolution in half and it comes out to be the exact same resolution as this 16.6 megapixel stacked sensor. So it's oversampling from that binned area, meaning it won't be as detailed and sharp as like a standard oversampled high resolution sensor, but it will give you some incredible low light capability and speed because it's stacked and a low resolution sensor. I do want to add one last thing before we move on. I did see Philip Bloom's video, which was super comprehensive, really good video, by the way, on this camera. And he brought up 4K 240. He actually had access to like a beta version on his specific FX5, which I'm shocked about because it's more than a year out.
We didn't even get the camera, and he's getting camera with future firmware.
With beta firmware, basically. But he shot 4K 240. I think it has like a 1.3x crop or something like that. It's RAW only. But still, he was saying that it's equal to like the quality of standard 4K. Usually you're seeing line skipped 4K or something like that, or sampling a smaller portion of the sensor. The clips he showed looked incredible. And it's rare that we can see 4K 240 in any camera that looks good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the firmware update down the road and seeing people shoot with this high frame rate footage. I think that'll be really cool.
Sounds good. Very interesting. We'll see when we get a hands-on if our fan base even gives a shit.
I do think all in all, Sony hit it out of the park with this one. The FX5 is a great camera. I still think the price is a little expensive at around $5,000, but for what it offers, it really pretty much does everything, like we said in our title.
All right, moving on. Photographer loses $259,000 job to AI. Now, before we get into this, as I said earlier, I do have a daily fro with Adam Lerner that we did with this, and then the video will be coming out, but I also wanted to get Steven's take on it. The quick of it is that there's a company called Wonderful Machine, and they're a photo agency, and they help photographers come up with estimates to price out a potential job and then put the bid in to potentially get the job. And so an article by the A Photo Editor, which I believe is still Wonderful Machine that they run, broke down the estimate process, explaining why they came to the numbers that they came to, and then said why the customer decided to go with AI instead of them. So I do think that the title is mighty misleading to say that photographer loses $259,000 job to AI. That just means they bid a job for $259,000. They didn't lose it to AI. They didn't get it because maybe they were over fucking valued and overpriced it. And what's cool, and we'll put the link down below, is you can see the exact estimation that they came up with. You can read it. You can see that it was like $40,000 for creative fees and then $200 and some thousand in expenses. And I just thought that was astronomically insane in this day and age, Stephen.
Yes.
Oh,
Agreed.
I should also mention that it's for a it was a athleisure brand. They didn't specify what they said. A smaller athleisure brand was the one that was inquiring about this and decided to go with AI instead. And when you break down the numbers, it's like we've got why do I think this is bloat? And you can listen to Adam and I discuss this the whole time, and we're not yelling at each other. We're just being passionate.
It was heated, I will say, but I thought it was much worse than what it ended up coming out to be. Because, like you said, it was more passionate than actually like yelling at each other.
Yeah, because I mean, I was right, and that was that.
You're just like when you debate someone, you just will live and die on that hill. You know, no matter what, you're not changing your mind.
No, not unless they make a valid point that makes sense. Like the
He had
other
some
day,
valid points.
I did a daily. Well, some of them are valid, but I also don't agree in this day and age. You also have to take that into consideration.
Sure.
Like, for example, there's some things in the estimate, like 17 hours for security guards on set on nights during nights. And then it's like travel. They counted mileage. And then there's like the assistant needs a day of prep, and we need to do a pre-light. We need 2 pre-light days and this. It's like, if I was to read all of this bullshit, you are just overcomplicating it. And my point to Adam was, why not just say, this is what it costs for me to do. Here's what you get. Oh, and I think the major issue was that the company wanted the rights to the images outright to use, and the agency model said you get rights for 3 years, and then each additional year is X amount of dollars. And their answer to that is, well, wait, so in 3 years, I've got to take everything off of social media. I've got to go back and find where all these ads have been shared.
How do you
and you want us
police that?
to go do that? It's like, see, that's old school thinking.
And Adam brought up, he kind of talked about how it's like music and licensing fees and stuff like that and royalties basically. But I agree. It's very old school where that might have been used in a print magazine one time. But now it's like, how do you take that offline when it's posted everywhere? How do you calculate all of that? The royalties, all of that in 3 years? Do we have to take it all down? Like, you can't really police that at all. It's not realistic.
It's unrealistic. And as I said, I think in this day and age, you win. If you came back to them, look, if you didn't know what their general budget was, you know, you go into it beforehand and you're like, guys, just so you know, things like this in the past have ranged in the couple $100,000 range. Does that fit in? And I'm not asking you for your exact budget, but I'm saying, is this realistic to you? Because I'm not going to come back and give you a $200,000 thing if you're in the $70,000 thing. But my biggest takeaway from the discussion with Adam was like, could you imagine, like you and I, if someone came along and was like, hey, we need this done. And I'm like, okay, it's $120,000 and I still spend maybe 40 or 50,000 to make the shit happen. And you're profiting the 60 or 70 for the shoot. Don't you think that that's pretty amazing? And instead of doing the shoot where you're only making $40,000 or $38,000 and you're spending $210 in expenses, that's just bass backwards.
Do we know what the shoot entailed? Like what they're actually going to photograph?
Well, yeah, it breaks it down. It was athleisure wear. Probably.
Like, are we talking like multiple different sets, locations, stuff
yes,
like that?
It
or?
talks about that. They're like, we have a kitchen set. We have a tailgating set. We have a this. And I'm like, guys, you could literally go rent an Airbnb an hour outside of Philly or an hour and a half in like the Poconos or an off-season place where nobody goes. You could get a mansion. When the Bowlers bowled the PBA Tour recently outside of Reading, they had a fucking mansion that 12 of them stayed in. You could literally you could reach out to these people and be like, look, we're not even going to sleep at your place. Can we work out something? We're going to be doing a shoot. We're going to keep it clean. We're not going to, use the bedding or any of that stuff. We're just using the area. You can do that and just spend a couple bucks. I just think the old world way of thinking is dead.
So I edited this video this week and, I got both of your takes on this subject. I will say I agreed at times with both of you during this debate, if you call it that.
Discussion.
I don't know. I think it was a little more than a discussion. I saw your point of view that it was certainly a bloated proposal, especially for 2026. Trim the fat, bootstrap it, make it work, figure it out. But I certainly see Adam's point with how you severely oversimplify everything. I get it. It's a corporate shoot. Need to 100% be prepared. That stuff costs money. Need time to scout, pre-light, make sure it's fully ready to go with, the second that talent steps on set. Limited timeline usually. You can't fuck around. This stuff doesn't take a team of 2. But I also think it doesn't take a team of 30 or 40, like are in this proposal. And corporate needs a full breakdown, like line item after line item.
I don't know that they need. I don't know in this day and age that they fully need it. My thing was make a video proposal. And if they want a breakdown of certain things, you can give it to them, but you don't need to break things down to the point of this is what we're charging for mileage. This is what we're charging for a security person. This is what we're charging. I think that stuff, no, they don't care. This is the production. Here's our expense. Here's what we're spending on location, and here's what we're spending on lighting and what we need to do, just so you guys have a better understanding.
And then when they say, how did you come up with that number? You're going to be like, I think you need to break it down line by line.
You don't. I think when you start breaking everything down by line, that's when people come in and say, well, we don't need this, we don't need that. When in fact, you do need this and you do need that. It's how you frame it to them. You make it easy.
I think a lot of the stuff that was listed is somewhat necessary, but not for those numbers. That's what I think it comes down to. Those numbers were in, like the stylist number, I think was like $60,000.
Yeah, just
for hair and makeup, basically.
So what I would do again is I would make a video, a video proposal. Video proposal, and yes, you still give a written proposal as well, but a video proposal is a way that you're selling you. It's an advertisement for you. You're explaining, oh, and by the way, when it comes to the rights, I know that the rights are important to you, so we're including that unlimited usage in the final price that we give you, so you never have to come back to us again. You're not going to make much money off of that shit later, so make the money now.
And I don't know if that would hurt or help you making a video. Like,
that's okay.
Obviously,
that's my style.
You're standing out, but I don't know if they would like that or not like that. It's hard to say. Like, again, I think you're really oversimplifying a lot of this stuff. Like, you're going to do a video and be like, hey, we're going to do this. It's going to be $100,000 done.
No,
and you think they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to go with that
what
guy.
I said. That's not even close to what I said. What you do is you paint the picture for
is this video just talking head?
No, you're using B-roll. It's your proposal.
B-roll of what?
Past shoots that you can use, showing the equipment, showing ideas, using graphics that maybe you storyboarded using some AI storyboarding company.
Hey.
Yeah, because you use the tools that exist to help you get the job. So that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about, oh yeah, it's gonna be $100,000 and you're done. It's you lay it out point by point. Hi, here's what we do.
You do line items.
But you don't go to the fuck you, Steven. The extremes of what these people go to.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
What you're describing is being detailed in video form, not in words.
But detailed in selling a story. They are buying a story. They're buying it from you. You're the guy to make this job happen. Here's what the budget is looking like. That's going to include this, and this. But I'm not breaking it down and saying that, oh, there's 3 pre-light days for that. It's all, we take care of the lighting that needs to be used. We get all of the equipment that needs to be used. Here's how we estimate that the days are going to work. And at the end of the day, this is what you're getting as a client. You're getting all of these images. I will get them web ready for you. I will give you full res for any other thing that you want to do. And you have all the rights to use it however you see fit. That's included in this price.
I do definitely think they should get all the rights. They're certainly paying for it. So why would you limit them to a 3-year contract or something like that?
That's been
3 years of usage.
That's been my feeling all along when I've worked with customers, and like, you hire me for a wedding. It's like, here are the pictures. You paid me for this shit.
And don't get me wrong, I do like your video idea. I think it makes it more personable. I think it showcases you as a photographer and your personality and who you're actually working with. It puts a face to the name instead of just being on paper. But
we are brands.
I do think you almost combine the two and maybe do an introduction video quickly explaining it while you still have a line-by-line breakdown of the proposal or estimate that you also include in the video. A little bit of both.
You can do, if you want to do line items, fine, but don't do dumb shit like 17 hours for security, or that we need our wardrobe person and set person needs 5 days extra beforehand to do it. Just, if you roll it in and it includes this shit, and you can put it in, it includes all of the work needed to not, they don't care, like, so, the thing is, I don't care how the fucking cupcake is made at Ramona Susan's where I get my cupcakes. I just care that it's fucking tremendous. I don't go there and be like, hey, I'm going to order 24 cupcakes for the boot camp. What is the process that you use exactly to make all of this? What is the flour? Like all of this shit? Like, I don't need to know that.
I do think it's crazy that this is also, I think, all in a 9-day shoot. It's 6 days of actually shooting, 9 days of the prep and wrap and returns and all of that. I think that's a little bloated. I mean, do you really need 6 days to take photos of people wearing clothes on certain sets?
It was 100 different SKUs or something. So yes,
okay.
It could take time.
I can see that.
Yes, but you know what? Fucking figure it out. They're happy with better than their... Oh, the other point I made in this thing was a company, if they wanted to spend $250,000, could literally hire 3 people to work full-time jobs for them for the entire year or more and get way more out of them than just 6 days of use, 6 days of something.
By the way, I see on here, it says licensing options. The client may extend the above license at any time for an additional $6,600 per year.
It's stupid. Just fucking roll it in. Just give it to them.
For that price, that should definitely be included in perpetuity, pretty much.
But the thing is, the way they break it down, it's our fees are only $40,000. The expenses are the $210. It's like, get out of here. Anyway, you want to listen to that? Link down below. The video will also be out soon.
Probably this weekend, if I had to guess.
Yeah, the Daily Fro. If you haven't checked out the Daily Fro, please go check it out. It's where I, recently talked about chocolate and titties. You'll have to tune in to hear why I talked about chocolate and titties. It's the chocolate and titties episode.
Listen to that next while I'm looking over the images
how to shoot
of
photos.
how to shoot women.
Yeah, no. And then there's also a titled My Mom Made Erotic Chocolate. That's the latest one.
Man, 6 to midnight. What?
Yeah. So anyway, since we talked about this AI, there was an update to the Ben Affleck selling his company, his AI startup that was started in 2022, by the way. Talk about jumping a little early.
Yeah.
Getting early, instead of just bitching and complaining that the future is coming and you hate it, you get there before the future gets there. And he sold it to Netflix for $587 million. Wow. Now, who knows how much he makes off of that? But let me see. Netflix has paid $587 million. The reason I bring this up is we didn't have all the info yet because Netflix didn't say it. Now they did. Netflix has paid $587 million. I wonder what the line item looked like to acquire Ben Affleck's AI film tech startup Interpositive, a blockbuster bet on using generative tools to reshape how movies and series get made. Founded in 2022 to keep storytelling human. Interpositive builds filmmaker-focused AI that speeds complex shoots and post-production while promising to preserve creative control on Netflix's sets and sound stages. The exclusive deal lands as Netflix leans on AI across roughly 300 productions, even as its stock slumps in Hollywood, Union, blah, blah, blah. So they're using it and they're saying like, look, CGI is a thing. If you could speed up CGI, you save a lot of money and you get something done. And yes, you're doing away with certain jobs. That's the nature of progress here.
So that's what I'm curious about. Like, again, it says speeds complex shots up and post-production workflows, but like, what's it? It's just replacing CGI is what you're saying?
No, it's not just CGI stuff, but it's the storyboarding. It's it could.
What about post-production, it's saying?
In post-production, it's probably helping with post-edit, meaning like, imagine if you have the entire, all of the shots you did inputted and ingested into the system, and somehow there may be tags, or it can pick up certain things where it can find the slate or something, right? And it's like, find shot 2, take 1, or find where we did a shoot in the trees, and it pulls up.
You can actually already do this in Premiere, by the way.
Oh, okay. So right,
you can search clips like that.
Well, I didn't know because I don't use. I'm not an editor. But imagine it goes beyond that and makes it even easier to do the workflow, where it ingests all this stuff and allows you to find like, hey, what do you think would look good here based off of what we already have shot?
Yeah, I'm reading some of the article, and it says the company uses the technology mostly in post-production processes, uses generative AI for really complicated shots and sequences. Again, CGI replacement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They say we're making higher quality output more quickly and efficiently than we could use traditional methods.
But they're not replacing the whole thing.
No, but generative AI for certain sequences and quick things. I'm curious how good it is compared to your traditional CGI route.
Sure. Right. But again, the way that I can equate this to photography is if you were anti-digital photography, how'd that work out for you? If you were in the early 2000s, late 1900s at this point, and you were afraid in like 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go digital because you're like, the quality isn't there. How did that work out for you?
Here you go. It's saying they cited the historical documentary The American Experiment, on which Tom Hanks served as the executive producer, as an example. The docuseries
Are
featured...
you crying?
There's no crying in baseball.
Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball.
It says the docuseries featured 17 minutes of AI-enhanced footage, according to whoever this guy is, that were produced twice as fast and at half the cost of previous options. So again, replacing CGI. And then it says, as part of the acquisition, Netflix said it will bring on Affleck's entire team and keep Affleck as a senior advisor.
Yeah, good for him, man, for jumping early, and instead of just bitching about quality, hating AI, doing something about it.
Ben Affleck net worth, it says 300 million. I would think he's worth way more than that.
Well, it's tough for him to be worth 300 million.
Oh, here you go. The Netflix tech acquisition, blah, 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 blah. Liquidating his stake in the company officially catapulted his personal wealth past the $300 million mark, and I think before that he was worth 150 mil. So,
gee darn,
there you go.
Yeah, not a bad gig for a couple of kids from Southie. How you like apples? You like apples? I went to AI. I got paid, bitch. With that all being said, if you want to text us, it's 313-710-9729. We appreciate you guys listening. Steven, anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
That is it. I would just say check out the FX5 preview for a list of the entire specs and how stacked that camera is. And then also check out the other videos, the George update, as well as the Adam discussion with this whole AI versus photography thing.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.
Bye.